Now, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar and 21 Savage, things have taken another wild turn in this story. If you're ready to see why 21 Savage said he wants to fight Kendrick Lamar, this moment says a lot about where the rap world is right now. Even after 2 full years, anyone tied to Drake is still reacting to Kendrick like the situation just started yesterday, and that tells you everything about how deep this tension runs. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe because this chapter of hip-hop is one of the most unpredictable we've seen in a long time. We're in an era where two sides of the culture stand on totally different principles, and the crew that usually rolls with Drake is now saying straight up, Kendrick Lamar is too good at rapping, so the only thing left is to get in the ring with him. That's how wild it's gotten. Hit that like button for real, because even though it's kind of funny seeing how Kendrick's skill as an MC is pushing certain big names into saying they need to squabble up, it's also a little sad that some of the biggest commercial names in rap think that is the best way to respond. It shows how shaken they really are when someone's talent keeps putting pressure on the whole room. And before we go deeper into this, I'm gonna play the actual clip of 21 Savage where he says he would fight Kendrick Lamar and breaks down why he believes it makes sense for Drake. This came from an interview he did recently, and now that we're at the end of the year, it feels like every rapper is finally sitting down and talking again. Something about November and December always brings these interviews out, and this one definitely added more heat to the story. And the thing is, a lot of these guys don't even drop real music anymore.
About rap beat that's going on right now. What do you think about what's going on with Kendrick and Drake? Do you think that is it to the point of no return, or do you think people can swap this publicity?
I don't know. I don't really believe in rap beef. Like I don't come from that world though. But I don't come from that world, so I don't believe in rap beef. If you say me in a song, I'm a side.
Oh my God.
They just play influencer games, chase internet moments, or spend their time gossiping about everyone else. Since 21 Savage didn't release anything major this year, he ended up getting pushed into this corner where talking about Kendrick became his only move. And that's exactly why this whole situation feels so tense right now. So when you listen to 21's comments, you can hear what he was trying to say about Kendrick, all while keeping everything tied back to the Drake situation. The interviewer asked him straight up if this whole issue could ever get resolved, or if there was any path where they could handle things differently, and 21 tried to break it down in his own way. But here's where it gets interesting. 21 Savage isn't just another rapper speaking on this, he's Drake's closest collaborator at this point. He's the one guy who has never switched up on Drake, and Drake has always tried to make it look like they're locked in as best friends no matter what. That alone tells you 21 knows a lot more behind the scenes than most people realize. And with that in mind, you can easily picture Drake and 21 sitting on the phone, talking privately about everything that went down. You can almost hear 21 telling Drake,
I don't come from that world though. Like I feel like it depends like what world you come from. Like if you come from like your book bag used to have like raps in it, then cool. I feel like those type of people, like that's like their world, like that's what they do.
Kendrick Lamar disrespected you so much in this rap beef, which is really just his softer way of saying Kendrick outsmarted him at every level. Kendrick dropped stronger tracks, sharper bars, and showed a strategy that kept Drake reacting every single time. 21 basically made it sound like there's no point in doing anything except throwing hands at this stage, which is wild when you think about it. And if you remember for a second, Drake already hinted at this energy months ago when he was on that stream with Aiden Ross. He talked about boxing Kendrick Lamar and even said he would win, trying hard to give people the idea he was ready to step into a ring with him. It was pretty clear Drake wanted to feel like he had some type of control or strength in the situation, even if it was just for show. And when you look at what 21 is saying now and compare it to how Drake has spoken in the past, it's obvious these two have talked about this behind the scenes. This isn't some random comment. It feels like a conversation they've gone over many times, almost like they convinced themselves this is the only way to even things out. But here's where it takes a turn, because 21 Savage went on to say some seriously disrespectful things, clearly aimed at Kendrick. I'm gonna replay that moment in slow motion because the tone alone says everything. It wasn't just a casual remark. It carried real tension. And the way 21 said it reminds me a lot of what Lil Baby said earlier this year when he sat down with Charlemagne. When he talked about Not Like Us and the entire Kendrick versus Drake situation, he had that same uneasy energy, like he didn't even want to touch the topic because of how heavy it was. This moment from 21 has that exact same vibe. 21 was trying to defend Drake and push back against Kendrick, acting like everything Kendrick did in that beef was somehow the wrong side of rap. He tried to box Kendrick into this weird corner, making him look like an outsider in hip-hop. Even though Kendrick has songs that outperform most of 21's entire catalog, it felt like he wanted the public to think Kendrick wasn't following the rules or didn't move the right way in the culture, which is wild when you look at what actually happened. When 21 Savage said he doesn't come from that part of rap, it didn't even make sense. This is rap. All of it. The competitive energy, the back and forth moments, the lyrical pressure, the pride and skill, that's been part of the culture forever. Unless you're someone like Andre 3000 who avoids direct conflict and lets the music speak through pure artistic moves, being in hip-hop means you're in the sport, whether you like it or not. Trying to spin it any other way just feels like avoiding the real conversation. What really bothered people was when 21 said, if you wrote raps in your backpack back in the day, then that space isn't real rap. And he tried to act like he represents some higher level of authenticity. It came off like he was trying to separate himself as the one real rapper while painting Kendrick as the guy who doesn't count, even though Kendrick's skills and consistency have kept him at the top for years. Everything about this showed major problems, and the attitude felt almost identical to what the game said about Kendrick in his recent interview. They both pushed this idea that Kendrick isn't from the lifestyle they claim, so they try to downplay him, which honestly feels unnecessary and weak. Instead of addressing the music, the strategy, or the impact, they lean on this angle of, he's not from what we're from, like that somehow erases talent or hard work. Seeing two major artists talk this way about someone who has proven himself over and over feels strange, and it highlights how uncomfortable some of them are with Kendrick's presence in the rap space. This kind of approach just makes them look insecure, not stronger. And when we really step back and look at the hip-hop space, what does any of this even matter anymore? Trying to bring up what someone did before they were famous, or trying to hype yourself up as some tough guy, doesn't change anything about where you stand today. Kendrick is who he is now, and 21 is who he is now, and all this extra talk feels like a last-minute attempt to throw any insult possible just to drag Kendrick down instead of giving him the credit he's earned. Then on top of that, trying to talk down on Kendrick by saying he's one of those rappers who used to carry rhymes in a backpack, like that's supposed to be an insult, makes the whole thing even stranger. Acting like writing your own raps is something to laugh at? Let me rant for a second, because this is exactly why conversations like this get exhausting. This whole argument exposes a bigger issue that keeps popping up. Certain artists keep pushing this anti-thinking, anti-craft attitude in hip-hop. It's like they want to act as if putting real thought into your music somehow makes you less authentic, which makes no sense at all, especially when it's coming from someone like 21 Savage, who has been one of the bigger names of this decade and carries real weight in the industry. To see him sit there mocking rappers for writing their rhymes, for actually creating their art with intention, is wild when you think about it. Hip-hop has always been built on great writers, sharp storytelling, and people who push ideas forward. That's been part of the culture since day one. The entire genre was elevated by artists who put pen to paper and crafted something powerful. So hearing someone clown that process like it's something weak is just unbelievable. If anything, it shows how flipped the mindset is right now. People treating real creativity like it's a weakness instead of the core of the culture. This whole moment exposes how upside down the logic has become. And now we're seeing one of hip-hop's biggest names trying to tear this down, while being best friends with another major star who constantly talks it down too. Then you look at Lil Baby, another close friend in that same circle, also pushing this idea that thinking deeply or writing with intention somehow makes you less real in rap. At that point, the line in the sand becomes clear, and this is exactly where I split from that whole side of the culture, the side I call the Drake sphere. This is why every questionable move coming from that camp needs to be highlighted, because if nobody calls it out, we're gonna fall right back into an era where anti-thinking becomes the trend again. They want a version of hip-hop where the craft, the writing, the creativity, the message, the most important tools of expression from the last 50 years get pushed aside for surface-level moments and quick-hit antics. That mindset holds the entire culture back. So when you hear 21 Savage talking like this, whether he fully means it or not, it shows the mentality they keep pushing. He's acting like things should get physical instead of focusing on the actual competition, which has always been about who can write better, who can create stronger material, and who can stand out as a real MC. That has always been the core of hip-hop, no matter how anyone tries to twist it. However you choose to look at it, the truth is undeniable now. There are two versions of hip-hop that represent completely different values. Even though artists cross into each other's lanes sometimes, and even though their songs might share similar beats, producers, or flows, the foundation underneath is totally different. One side stands for depth, skill, and creativity, and the other leans into a world where thinking less is somehow seen as more. These two factions of rappers represent completely different visions for what hip-hop should be. One group wants to stand on everything the culture has ever been built on. The fun, the emotion, the storytelling, the creativity, the raw expression that can be both life-changing and exciting at the same time. That's the beauty of hip-hop. It can hit you with powerful messages and give you the most hype anthem you've ever heard, all in the same breath. Then there's the other side, the group that doesn't want bars with substance, doesn't want depth, doesn't want layers, and doesn't want complexity. They want to serve the audience the most surface-level content possible, with lyrics stripped of meaning, all floated on top of the most polished, factory-made beats. And when you break down what 21 Savage said, it tells you everything you need to know about that mindset. Hearing him talk like that makes you realize just how important Kendrick Lamar's mission has been this whole time. It gives so much more meaning to why he moved the way he did this year, and why he felt completely justified calling out the rap game the way he did. Kendrick didn't draw that line in the sand out of nowhere. He did it because he saw where things were headed, and he wasn't willing to let the art lose its soul. Yes, it made a lot of artists upset. Yes, it pushed some people into reacting in ways that made them look out of control. And yes, it even made a few rappers start saying things like they should squabble up with him. But Kendrick never wavered, because what he's standing on is way bigger than one argument or one moment. He's standing for the future of a genre that's been around for over 50 years. A genre built on creativity, honesty, skill, and expression. He's making sure that hip-hop keeps growing the right way, keeps evolving with real purpose, and continues being one of the most powerful art forms on the planet for generations to come. And while 21 Savage is out here saying he should fight Kendrick and pushing that whole angle, the funny part is what someone online pointed out. And shout out to that person, because they caught something huge. This guy highlighted how 21 Savage and Lil Durk were involved in some dissing of their own, and they got hit with the exact same label Kendrick used for Drake in Not Like Us. That alone exposes so much, because that's the very thing 21 gets worked up about whenever Kendrick brings it up. You can almost tell Drake probably put that battery in his back, because 21 reacts in a way that shows he doesn't know how to handle that pressure. And what's even crazier, 21 never did any of the things he said Drake should do to Kendrick. He didn't take those stands, didn't try those moves, and didn't follow through on anything he claimed someone else should do. Not for Drake, not for hip-hop, not for whatever message he claims he's pushing. And moments like this show exactly why that side of hip-hop is so different from where the culture actually needs to be heading. On one side of the game, the words artists use carry meaning. Real weight, real intention, real impact. Those words shape the music, the message, and the energy behind the artistry. But on the other side, the words mean absolutely nothing. They're just used to entertain for a moment or distract listeners from the fact that there's nothing deeper happening in the music. The promises made in those songs never get fulfilled, and the messages don't stand for anything beyond quick hype. This contrast reveals why the divide in the genre is so obvious right now. One side values intention and power, while the other side just throws out lines with no follow-through at all. And to be real, when we look at all these comments popping up about Kendrick Lamar, whether it's from The Game, 21 Savage, or whoever else decides to jump out soon trying to downplay him, it's clear this isn't random. This wave of criticism is happening because of the timing and the pressure building inside the industry right now. It's the end of the year, everyone's recapping the biggest moments in hip-hop, and the truth about where the culture really stands is suddenly in everyone's face again. Right now, the streaming platforms are dropping their year-end stats. The top songs, the top albums, the biggest artists, and the industry is realizing something they've been trying to ignore. In a landscape full of people who cut corners, chase numbers, bend their creativity to trends, and drop music with no real thought behind it, Kendrick Lamar stands out in a way that makes certain people uncomfortable. Here's a guy with only 6 albums in 15 years, someone who moves on his own schedule, makes conscious hip-hop, refuses to compromise his integrity, and still comes out as one of the biggest names in the entire world. That alone carries massive weight, and a lot of artists hate seeing it because it exposes how weak their own strategies really are. There's no shortcut to what Kendrick is doing, and that bothers people who rely on shortcuts. And when you look at how much Kendrick dominated hip-hop this year, the frustration on the other side makes even more sense. Just for perspective, Kendrick had such a massive run this year that his project GNX wasn't just the most streamed hip-hop album, it was the most streamed album across all categories on every major platform by a huge margin. And on top of that, he had 2 of the top 5 most streamed songs on Spotify this year. Luther at #1 and TV Off at #5. That's incredible. Numbers like that don't come from hype tricks or chasing algorithms. They come from impact, real skill, and music that actually connects with people. And that's exactly why certain rappers are suddenly feeling the need to speak on Kendrick. His success shines a light on what they lack, and some can't handle that reality. And what's even more wild is that those were the only rap songs in the entire top 10. When you look at the other major platforms, Kendrick Lamar had the top 5 most streamed rap songs across the board. That alone shows the global reach he has right now, not just in talent, but in crafting the biggest moments and delivering the strongest hit records in the whole culture. All of this proves something bigger. Almost 2 years after Kendrick jumped on that Future and Metro Boomin track and shook the whole scene up, these rappers are still acting like they don't know how to respond. Instead of locking in and dropping real music, a lot of them are more focused on influencer antics, clout moves, and online games rather than the actual rap game. And while they sit there trying to talk themselves into excuses, trying to twist the story however they they can, the truth keeps staring them in the face. Kendrick outworked them, outclassed them, outsmarted them, and just flat out rapped better than them. It's never been more clear who's really moving the culture forward and who's struggling to keep up. Because honestly, when you look at how some of these artists performed this year, whether they dropped music or not, it becomes obvious why the resentment toward Kendrick is so strong on that side. Lil Baby's year felt lukewarm, especially compared to the hype he used to have, and 21 Savage didn't release anything major at all. Both situations show how deep their frustration runs. Either you dropped an album that came and went with no real impact, or you didn't drop anything and still found a way to add nothing meaningful to the scene. And then to turn around and criticize Kendrick, someone who delivered a massive year with undeniable numbers and impact, just exposes how imbalanced the conversation really is. It's clear who's pushing the culture forward, and it's clear who's contributing the bare minimum while still trying to talk like they run something. And that's the part that really exposes everything, because after doing all that complaining about Drake being done wrong, Drake needing support, Drake not deserving what happened, and whatever other victim storyline they keep pushing, none of these guys actually contributed anything to help him. They didn't drop a strong response, didn't apply pressure, didn't shift momentum, didn't create anything meaningful that could give Drake the spark he clearly couldn't create on his own. When you break it down, it shows exactly what kind of rappers they are. The kind who don't enjoy the real rap competition, who make fun of skill and craft, who brush off creativity like it doesn't matter, and who stand far away from everything hip-hop has historically represented. Meanwhile, the genre finally snapped back into its purest form, with Kendrick Lamar stepping into real leadership and taking the culture further than Drake or any of the anti-thinking artists ever managed to. Of course they don't like that. They don't want to watch the culture move back to strong writing, strong ideas, and real skill. They don't want hip-hop to return to its roots where talent matters more than antics. And just like I said about the game, I feel the same way about 21 Savage. You're allowed to have your opinions, you're allowed to feel however you feel, and you're allowed to talk. But if you're gonna talk this much, can you at least give the culture some real music? Can you at least step up and be a worthwhile villain if you insist on being the one opposing everything Kendrick stands for? Because honestly, all this talking means nothing if you're not dropping strong songs, pushing your perspective in a meaningful way, or putting something on the table that actually challenges the market. If you want your words to matter in hip-hop, they need to show up in the music, not just in an interview with a microphone in front of you. Because honestly, taking the route of actually dropping music and standing on something would be way more respectable than what 21 is doing now. Sitting in a corner, talking non-stop and contributing nothing to the culture. Meanwhile, as everyone keeps doing nothing, Kendrick Lamar is already on the next leg of his Grand National Tour, now performing in Australia and showing once again why he's operating on a level far above most of the rap game. He's not just filling big venues, he's packing out arenas all across the world in a way very few artists can. Outside of maybe Travis Scott, there's nobody close to Kendrick's global pull right now. And that's the reality these other rappers don't want to face. Watching Kendrick level up like this only makes their attempts to downplay him look weaker and more embarrassing every day. And on a personal level, hearing these rappers talk the way they do, crashing out publicly, exposing how insecure they really are, and trying to spin every excuse possible, I honestly hope Kendrick decides to unleash a full lyrical response soon. A track where he breaks down the entire state of hip-hop would shake the whole culture, and a lot of people need that wake-up call. Because the truth is simple, their time is fading fast. And unless they're willing to get in the booth, write their rhymes, think through their craft, and actually build something meaningful, their careers are only going to keep slipping downhill from here. The game has changed and the shortcut era is ending. From Drake all the way down to everyone else talking without putting in the work, they might think they've already seen their decline. But they don't even realize how much further they can fall if they keep moving the way they are now. The culture is shifting, and those who aren't willing to grow with it are about to feel that reality even harder. And so that's everything for today. Drop your thoughts on 21 Savage saying he wants to squabble up with Kendrick Lamar. It's wild how Kendrick basically predicted all this on track 2 of GNX, and now his massive success is making certain rappers crash out even harder, talk more, and disrespect him more. All because they can't stand how far ahead he is in the game. This moment says a lot about where hip-hop is right now and how one artist can shake the entire genre. What I really want to know is this: do you think Kendrick Lamar is the most dominant rapper in hip-hop history? I don't even mean in terms of album sales alone. I mean in terms of how he stacks up against every other rapper today and the way he makes certain artists look silly when they try to clown hip-hop for being an intellectual art form while pushing their anti-thinking takes. And when you see the stuff they're doing, the weak attempts, the strange talking points, the contradictions, I know you see the same patterns I do. Kendrick's impact is forcing a lot of people to show who they really are, and it's exposing the divide in the culture louder than ever. Now listen, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, drop a comment, share this video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. It helps more than you know, and I appreciate every bit of support. But if you want to stick around for a little more, the next part is even bigger. Before all of this, Drake was already dealing with some serious problems. From DJ academics exposing major details to the truth behind what's going on with the Iceman album and where Drake's career is really heading right now, things have never looked worse for him. No matter how you try to break it down, you're not gonna want to miss what comes next. So check out the suggested video, and I'll see you in the next one.